Hi, I'm Hoodie here, and this is the story of how I built a tavern in a cavern and lost 50 dwarves in the process. The plan I had going in was that I would take the natural shape of whatever cavern I found and chop off a part of it that I could turn into a tavern where monster-slaying adventurers would be able to freely pass between tavern and cavern as they went from drinking plump helmet wine to dueling blind cave ogres. But the fortress got off to a rough start when, in the first week, my woodcutter was hit by a log and was knocked unconscious into a pool where he drowned. Not to be deterred by a total accident, I kept the dwarves focused on the task at hand, namely, digging up a strangely warm patch of gems that revealed a pocket of magma that melted my miner when the gems were mined. We moved on from losing 2 of the starting 7 dwarves by working more carefully while walling off the tavern area and adding workshops, flooring, and a farm. Or at least working carefully was the aim, but it ended up that a bunch of monster slayers got trapped in the cavern when we accidentally opened and then closed a path to it through the workshops, and a farmer got literally scared to death by the ghost of one of the dwarves I had forgotten to bury. Feeling a little cursed, and
I've been watching so many Dwarf Fortress videos the last few days.
Some what?
Dwarf Fortress videos.
Oh, yeah.
I'm like so into it because the real game just launched on Steam, so everyone's talking about it and playing it. Even on Twitter, I've seen people talking about it.
Oh, yeah.
Kind of cool. I showed Nikki a bunch of videos about it, including the interview with the developer. The interview is so good, by the way. The developer is such a he's such a cool guy. He's such a nerd. Yeah, he's a super chill nerd. Super humble too. Like giving the game away for free.
Oh, yeah.
I think he just looks like a developer. He's like the fat bald guy who plays D&D basically. Like,
Yeah.
It's cool though.
Does it look like it's worth playing?
It looks way well. Like I actually don't mind ASCII art and keyboard controls, but it actually looks really good on Steam. Like they've done a really good job. The sprites are super good. The menus are extremely clear and readable now. Just nice. I'm thinking about playing, but man, it's so complicated. I don't know if I want to put on that. I liked Factorio though. I haven't even played I don't think I played Factorio since they released version 1.0. And they've gone a lot since then. Destiny, the streamer, he plays a lot of Factorio lately, and he has like a shitload of mods too. So when you launch the rocket, it doesn't end the game. You land in like a moon base or like a space area where you can build platforms and continue the factory in space. You gotta like rocket supplies to and from the space location. That's super cool actually.
Wow.
But beyond a certain point, I don't really know what that point is. Like I think Factorio is sufficiently complex without any mods. And adding more complexity doesn't really improve the experience.
Oh, yeah.
That's what the Factorio devs said too. They were like, well, we could have added more stuff, but like why? Like there's plenty.
Mm-hmm.
Oh. And those last parties trailers today were a struggle. I basically just hard-coded all of them shamelessly because I just don't care anymore. I'm like, dude, if I'm gonna rewrite this all, why am I even trying to generalize it? Why am I trying to make good fixes if we're just gonna like, you know, start from scratch? So I'm like, fucking hard-code it all. And we still got side effects. I'm like, how the hell are we getting side effects? So I'm literally hard-coding the answer here. Like, it was like, skipped a certain footer that's like US tax number blah blah blah, and like there's no way, but apparently like multiple docs have that, and not even multiple related docs. I'm like, what the fuck? And not only that, but skipping it got us worse results somehow. I'm like, okay, so skipping a garbage line somehow gets you worse results. Don't ask me. Like, how was your release?
Just says stupid mistakes basically on my part on the cross default cleanups. But you know, to my credit, they added those to the Trellos yesterday. So, and Minna even labeled it like Hail Mary. So it's like kind of probably not gonna work.
Oh yeah, wait.
And
Joyce labeled a bunch of mine Hail Marys too, but they were super fucking easy. Like Hail Mary would be awesome. Hail Mary by like all of them. I think she's just pissed.
They must have had like a A-team meeting about it or something.
Yeah, they must have.
Just go for it.
Just put Hail Marys on all of them. I know.
Yeah. But it was super annoying because Minna is not going to be up at this time, So I was sending diffs to Richard, and Richard doesn't even know, I don't know, you can look at the analysis, I guess, but he didn't think about what these updates were, So he's not even really sure what's going on. And I can't really help him out either.
Yeah.
But
yeah.
So there's like a few things. I know that half of what they wanted already didn't work,
Yeah.
But one of the things was excluding, like I told you, excluding cross acceleration clauses with that name, And then of course it's like, oh, it excluded like cross default colon cross acceleration. It's like, well, obviously that's wrong, right? But then when I'm like, well, without asking, I know like if we exact match cross acceleration, that's got to be safe, right? And so I was looking through the code a little bit, and then I saw commented out and because I made a cool, it's not like that crazy, but I just made a function, like a wrapper that will run. The main thing is that you could potentially exclude certain, like for instance, actually that one, what is it? Yeah, okay, I wanted to keep the analysis inside of those, main analysis functions. I didn't want to like exclude these clauses right above where you call cross default, but then it's starting to get kind of messy in my opinion. So I wanted to make a wrapper, kind of like we do with the timer, so that you keep it concise on that analysis function. And so I got a wrapper that just, most importantly, it takes in the document object because it's wrapping the function, right? So you have access to all the context surrounding events of default in order to exclude clauses by virtue of being a wrapper. So anyways, I made this function to do that, and you can easily, it just takes in any number of callables that they just have to conform to the like signature of a events of default function. So they take in, variables or whatever. And anyway, so it pre-excludes a bunch of clauses. Yeah, that's right. I was showing you. Thought it was weird because you can exclude a clause that adds children, and then find section by pattern will respect that and still walk down the tree past those excluded clauses. But it kind of makes sense, like in a case like this, where you might want to exclude cross acceleration, but who knows? Maybe there's a subclause that's like cross default. It's like, oh yeah, everything's cross acceleration except, well, in this scenario, it's cross default or something.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know if they would really do that, but then again, who knows?
I feel like I've seen that, as stupid as it is. I've seen like, oh well, this should be in its own section because it's actually fall into that category, but that's how they've done it.
Yeah. Sometimes there'll be something along the lines of like you have the article. Sometimes you have the article is events of default, but then there's a subsection that's events of default, and it's like the whole events of default clause, and then there'll be a few other clauses like the remedies, or there's like 2 other types. So sometimes there's like up to 4 main sections underneath the article. And then within the events of default, sometimes it's like failure to pay, clause for this, clause for that, and then there'll be like a clause for other defaults, and in that will be like cross default or whatever they decide to put it in. So it can definitely be broken down in those kind of ways. And so it just seemed like a safe update, but then, because, I knocked out a bunch of good shit because it wasn't specific enough. And then I was looking, I'm like, well, we can just re-include, like if it has cross acceleration in the name, but it also has cross default, then don't exclude it. And then I was looking at the clause names, it's like, I didn't look that closely, but I don't know that they all say cross default either. And then I realized like we're basically just redoing our clause name matching in the exclusion. Like that just seems annoying and like redundant. So yeah, it's kind of the same. Doing specifically cross acceleration, exact matching it, I think mainly fixed it, but then Richard was even like, oh, there's these 2 documents where it does, you know, yeah, the section says that, but I think there's still cross default stuff in here. I don't know that we can actually do that. And I'm like, well, for fuck's sake. And then the other thing was she wanted to add this negative look ahead that we have to one of the patterns that wasn't using it. But then she said, like, but limit it to within 100 wildcard of this, you know, thing in the pattern. And I'm like, looking at it, and because of the way it's written, that pattern starts with a wild, and it's like 300. And I'm like, well, what the fuck, you know? That's why I don't like putting the wilds in the patterns, because then you start hard coding the functionality like that. Like
Yeah.
the wild, not that there shouldn't be wilds in patterns, but I don't, like as a general rule, I almost never put a wild card at the front or the end of a pattern.
Oh yeah, wait, that doesn't make any sense. At the front, it makes it super slow because then you're starting a wild, anchoring it at every character of the text, which is like
but
horrible. You should just never do that.
the reason why it's usable though is because it's just an add-in to a larger pattern. So you have the pattern
yeah.
that you want to match, and then you put this negative look ahead at the end of it, right?
That's good, but Darcy did that in facility types and it makes it super hard to debug when you have performance issues because you have to know the usages of the patterns, right? Oh,
Yeah,
whoops, I've
yeah.
accidentally squished 2 wilds together, or like some other BS.
This is another reason why I never put wilds at the beginning. But it's hard to, I don't know if Minna designed this pattern with me, I kind of forget. But, you know, at least with her anyways, it's kind of hard to communicate that in real time because we're on different time zones. So I guess I lost the battle on that one is the point with the wild. But the thing is now she's asking for a different wild card that I'm like, well, it's already in the pattern. So I had to make turn it into a function to deliver this negative look ahead. And then you can give it an argument to limit the wilds to this. And there's actually 2 different beginnings that have 2 different wild cards. So it just takes the minimum value of like
Oh yeah, I've seen
the
that.
existing
Yeah.
wild cards, and yeah.
I've had to
And
squish
so that-
wilds together in that sort of way before
Yeah.
for facility types. I'm like, well,
So it kind of is a cool way to solve the problem, but it's still annoying. And then the second mistake, wait, was that? Oh, so what was the first? Oh, the first mistake was that clause exclusion thing that didn't pan out, being so broad. And then the second, so that was like quick fix, you know. And then the second mistake was that I put this like there's existing patterns that use this negative look ahead, and they were functioning correctly already. But this new pattern, I forgot. Another one of my rules is that I don't take those negative look ahead patterns. I try not to put the negative look ahead part in the pattern, because I think it's you can name the variable something obvious, but still, it's a little bit. Same thing with the wild. It's like, for me, it's hard to understand what's going on when you don't have it explicit in the larger pattern. So I have it have all the right stuff in the pattern, except for the wrapped negative look ahead part. I put that in the main pattern, so you know for sure, like, this is negatively looking ahead of you. And I forgot to do that in this pattern. I'm like, for fuck's sake. So I burned myself again. So it's like 2-second fix, but then another hour-long diff. And finally the diff comes back, and it's like, okay, we went from like 300 plus results to like 50 or something. Like, okay, that's way more reasonable. And then I looked, and I was running it like against feature 2 to see all the changes in it. And the pattern that newly has the negative look ahead didn't have any changes. I'm like, for fuck's sake, it doesn't even work. And so we had, I don't remember what the other updates were. There was a couple other updates, whatever. So once you filter out all the losses due to the cross acceleration clauses, only 4 changes. There's 3 documents, and I think only one of the documents was one in the Trello. And that document, we lost a match that they wanted to lose, but it was to like, what do you call it? Material something effects. Material adverse effect was the term that we were looking for. And so we kicked like the first instance of it, and then just gained the second instance. And it says right in the trailer, like, this is not a cross default clause. So I'm like, well, fuck, we even excluded it correctly on that one, but there's a second instance that picks up on. So it's like huge kind of a failure on that one all the way around. So I was telling Richard, I'm like, so we're just like, this is just kind of screwed. He's like, I don't know, it's good enough to merge. We got like one or two improvements. And I'm like, you know, like, I don't know, it seems like a pretty weak win. He's like, better to merge something than nothing.
Yeah.
I'm like, oh my god, now we're just going for looks at this point. But whatever, so it's like a total sidestep basically.
Oh man.
But anyways, it was a last minute thing and everything, so it's like, I don't know, what do you do? And I'm hoping that the two documents he's talking about that probably shouldn't have been excluded based on the clause name. I forgot to ask him, but hopefully they're just like not the documents that, you know, the current client is looking at. So like maybe it still is an overall improvement to their eyes. But it kind of sucks to be like not, you know, perfect. But aside from that though, I didn't get as many things in as I thought I would have today. Maybe it's just because it's less MRs, but we made a change to the general rules for events of default, like across the board. And those are kind of confusing because they're like some of the oldest analysis, and plus since it's not a specific analysis, they're like kind of vague and stuff. Like, I don't know, it's just like shit patterns, and you know, it works well enough for now, you know. So so it's always confusing to look at that and try to figure out what's going on. But we were checking which defined terms are like, they don't really have a good name for it, but it's like the quote-unquote additional events of default defined terms. And I guess the point is that like there's obviously like event of default would be, you know, an EOD defined term. But then sometimes there's like other events or defaults or triggers or something that may be related to this event of default concept that we want to pick up on. And so I guess, yeah, we added trigger, I guess, because we didn't have that in there. So it pulled in new terms, but it was like a crazy cascade of logic because I think we were including a term that Richard thought we shouldn't. And he's like, it's not even used in a event of default clause. And I was like, yeah, that seems weird, huh? But then I looked, and when we're deciding on what sections are events of default sections, at the end of that, we call the function to create these, you know, defined terms that we're looking for. And the reason is because if they're referral definitions, we then look at the section they refer to, and sometimes it's like a schedule, you know? So then we include that schedule as an events of default section to look at. So it kind of, and that is a common thing where there'll be a schedule with additional events of default in it. So it's a way to pull those in. But because of that, you can't logically really say that, you know, like, oh, why is it pointing to a non-event of default section? But it's like, you know, well, that's how we include that section, is by using these defined terms and looking what they refer to. And I think that was ultimately an event of default section that we just weren't picking up on. So it was a good change. But then, so anyways, because of that, you know, we're looking at building the sections we're looking at, which builds the defined terms, which includes some additional sections. And then in the particular analysis we're looking at, we then use those defined terms and are supposed to search their text for sequences. And then strangely, we don't actually include them as a match defined term. We use their, the reason why we would have included them as a defined term is because there'd be some clause that would say like, and a something or other has occurred. And so like a event of default has occurred, you know, but then maybe it's like a something or other trigger event or something has occurred. And then, so we save those references. And if, for whatever reason in the analysis, if we decide that this defined term's related to it, we then include that clause that says, you know, a something or other trigger has occurred. So it includes this like seemingly random clause that pulls it in. By actually matching different sequences in definition text. So we had gains based on that in a particular analysis. And then thirdly, at the very end, we have post-processing stuff where we evaluate what falls into others and stuff like that. But we have some other stuff to pull in more sections that are not matchable via the specific sequences in the analysis, I guess. And one of the ways is that we look at those events of default terms and then check to see, rather than looking for that such and such has occurred language, we just look at what section they refer to. And if a category was matched in that section, then we include again this events of default term. Once again, not as a matched term, but actually whatever language it might have elsewhere that says so-and-so has occurred. So it's like, I thought we were just adjusting what happens at the beginning. And it turns out in 4 different ways it changed the results all the way up and down the whole stack of analysis. And I was like, dude, this is some fucking crazy logic.
Yeah.
I can't believe it worked. But it's cool though. It's kind of been a back burner thing to search those defined terms for sequences. It sounds easy enough because it is, but the thing is that every event of default has a totally different analysis, and some of them are simple, but some of them are really complicated. For instance, cross default. So you can't just say, oh, just search that defined term for these things. You have lots of exclusions and stuff going on, so it's hard to say oh yeah, I'll just add it in everywhere, because then I have, you don't know exactly where exclusions are applying in what ways and stuff, so it gets confusing. So anyways, it's been a back burner thing, but I finally created a function to search those defined terms and just handle all the logic in a single utility function. And now I can use that wherever and just add it in wherever we want to going forward.
Nice.
So that's pretty cool. Yeah. As an example, there's some exclusions are the exclude sections function, so it takes in a section as an argument, but you can't just pass that a defined term because it doesn't work the same way as a section, right? So it gets a little tricky when you think about just literally adding it everywhere. So anyways, all that's to say that update ended up affecting not just the general rules, but also specifically we had some updates targeting 3 different analyses, and it's kind of almost 4 MRs, but because they're all interlinked, I just kept it as one, So it's kind of a shame. I wanted to see that stack of MRs, but
Yeah.
Can't do it every time, so.
I've been doing just one more often lately.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
For events to default, especially, I like breaking them up. I have a harder time doing that in SLLs, and that's because there's a lot more. Events of default does have a dependency graph, but it comes into play less often, I think, because it's just simpler logic. For instance, well, that's a bad example. Whatever category might just really be a less specific, random thing that is common, but it's a different analysis takes precedent over it, so it'll just exclude all the sections that were matched under the prior one, But it's pretty straightforward because it just works. So you don't usually have to go back and change the dependency to fix the dependent. Usually you're just updating the sequences in the dependent. But in SLLs, it gets a lot more tricky, just because the group of defined terms you might be searching are available to search because they're the results of the prior analysis, which are using identifiers built in the analysis before that, so all the time in SLLs I'll start out with 3 or 4 branches and they just consolidate into a single branch because it's you can't even see the results unless you have all of that merged together anyway,
Yeah.
But Which, you know, it is what it is. But I like breaking them up because they're easier to think about when you can keep them contained. Plus, you know, the diffs take so long. Like, it's one thing, oh, it's an hour long to you know, do a snapshot. It's an hour to do a diff if you already have the base state. But if you're working on, I'm often working on like between 5 and 10 different categories, right? So if you want to not spend 5 hours diffing every day, then I just merge them into a temporary branch and diff that. And it's quite often, like in this case, where we almost didn't merge cross default, and it's a really good thing that I didn't have that mixed in with everything else. Because like throughout the week, you know, those commits would be interlaced in a single branch. It would be a lot harder to pull apart and just make a single episode that you did check out. So anyway, I don't know, exciting.
Your turret has been destroyed.
I get more kick out of like all that interlinking stuff than the actual updates.
Yeah.
A lot of times the updates, especially lately, I guess it's a good thing, but a lot of them are more boring. You know, like add a word here or whatever. And we might still have to iterate on it, but it's not that involved. Other than figuring out, you know, okay, I added the word, why didn't it match? Which is just usually like straight up the pattern. It's like, oh yeah, you know, yeah, you added that word, but it's preceded by the. You don't have a wildcard, so you gotta include an optional the. Just kind of lame, you know?
Yeah. I mean, I haven't done any cool updates in probably over a year now. It's just been hard coding shit. I can't remember the last time I touched like an analysis.
That's crazy, dude.
Stupid.
I guess the question is, does it still beat Amazon?
Probably just because it's not in meetings at least. You can just plow through your Trellos and call it done. Whereas at Amazon, there's always another meeting, so it's like you have to be online from 8 a.m. to 5 p.m. every day. Sometimes 6 p.m. And then every Thursday they have mandatory funds. So you have to show up in office to play some card games that nobody wants to play. Team building experience. Yeah, you have meetings from 8 a.m. to 5 p.m. Then you gotta go to the office at 5 p.m. or 6 p.m. and play board games for a few hours. And no alcohol. Against corporate policy. So you have to be sober with your coworkers, which is like the worst experience ever. Sober with a bunch of software engineers. Can you imagine? The worst. People just end up talking about like, I don't know, nothing interesting.
Do you have like your cliques there, or is it just kind of like a random?
Well, every team is only like 10 people, so it's very small. I don't think you can have cliques in a team of 10. It's kind of just one clique.
Yeah, I guess so. But I mean, like, we got our private channel that, you know, I don't know, maybe you guys talk to other people. I pretty much just talk to you and Charlie. I'll have group PMs with lawyers sometimes, but it's, you know, it's like a problem specific. Even if we're BSing, it's not just a general chat, you know?
Yeah.
But, so I went to this bar yesterday, and it's an Irish pub. So not like a, you know, a real, like, not a sports bar or something. A little different atmosphere, and I just felt like getting something different to eat, basically. But this dude sat next to me, and I started talking to him and stuff. And he's electrical engineer at, I think the company's called Rosemount Person. And it was actually really interesting talking to that guy. He worked at, I got confused because he said he worked somewhere for like 27 years or something. So I don't know if he was talking about that company or if he just recently moved to another one. But either way, anyways, he was talking about how they build like he's an electrical engineer, so designing circuits, I suppose. But they build like measurement, like, what would you call them? Sensors, I guess, for like they have like a factory or something that deals with like gases. It makes sensors to detect like the amount of gas that's in the air. And then he helped work on like a flow rate sensor, and it's like you have like a pipe that might have liquid or gas in it that's moving through it, of course, and it measures like the rate, the volume of gas flowing through it. But what was really cool is it sounds like kind of a simple concept, but the way it works is that it's like the probe is like kind of like a fin or something that sticks into the pipe, right? And because like fluid, what do they call that, like fluid dynamics or whatever, are chaotic, it naturally produces vortices in the flow when you introduce something that's what do you call it, like an obstacle or whatever. And those vortices happen at like a regular rate, I guess, which is kind of flicking from side to side around the obstacle. And so they measure, because the force applied to it changes as well, depending on which side the flow is more or less on. It vibrates the probe, and then they detect that vibration and measure that, and that's how they know how much volume is flowing through the pipe, because when it's going faster, that vibration is faster, and they detect that, right?
Right.
I was like, dude, that's like super smart. Like, that's so cool. Like, it's so simple, but it's brilliant that somebody figured that out. And he said, like, originally that's all it did, but then that just tells you the flow. It doesn't tell you like the mass, I guess. So they eventually put a temperature probe in it too, and then they can detect the flow, like the rate of the flow, but also the mass that's moving through it, which is sort of more important. And I was thinking about it, I'm like, oh, that makes sense, because like gases expand when they're hot, right? So I guess if they can measure the temperature, they can know like how dispersed the gas is. So without that information, you would just know the volume of gas moving through. But if the gas is really hot, it would be less mass moving through it, right? At least that's what I interpreted. So I was like, man, that's brilliant as well.
Yeah.
But he like worked on that for like decades or something, and it's kind of crazy because it sounds like how you made it, you built it. So like, what now? But I guess they like kept improving on it over the years. And, yeah, it's like totally different than the startup atmosphere where you're like trying to invent new algorithms and just going hard all the time or whatever.
Right.
They got the code review, and to make any one little change, it's got to go through all the testing, etc. But they have a mature product that is reliable, so like they can't really afford for it, to have a regression at all, right? So it's interesting, different approach, but also a different stage in like the history of a company like that.
Yeah.
So, yeah. I asked him, though, because he was like, I don't know, he was 50 or something. I asked him what his opinion of LinkedIn was, and he's like, yeah, I've been meaning to get on there more. I haven't really checked it out at all.
Yeah.
Like, okay.
Nobody older uses it.
He was like asking me about it, and I'm like, I don't know. I just got on it because the HR. But they have like, it's not like a huge company like Amazon, but I think it's a bigger company, so they have recruiters and stuff. Even though he's like a manager type guy who will hire somebody, he doesn't have to go find them. He just, they have the department or whatever that does that.
Yeah. Pretty sure the product I was working on at Amazon didn't launch on time because it's supposed to launch at reInvent, and I think reInvent is over. reInvent is like a stupid conference they host every year apparently, where they just have people give speeches about anything in tech, but usually stuff relating to Amazon in some way, shape, or form. There's like a Rust video about it. Why Rust? Okay, dude.
So did it feel to you like it was not finished, or?
It was so bad. Dude,
Oh,
the
no.
culture there was fucking the worst. Dude, like, everyone wanted to be on my team because it was a new product, right? So they were like, oh great, no bugs, I get to build it from the ground up. Well, the guys built it from the ground up and then immediately left to go work at startups. I'm like, oh, that's funny. Then the guys who were left, including me, were just like non-stop putting out fires and forwarding tickets and stuff. Because building the initial product is fun, but then eventually you have to integrate it with like other AWS services. Like AWS has like dozens of services that can call each other with SQL and shit. So they all want to integrate with us. And so you're like supporting other teams as they're trying to hook up to your code and stuff, explain all this stuff. And then obviously they're triggering false alarms that you got to go investigate and shit. And it's like, well, this is our problem or their problem? And you're like each revealing bugs in each other's services because they're like, oh yeah, we didn't expect that. I don't know, it's really bad. I mean, I guess most like services were worse. Like the guy who transitioned to our team, he said his old team, they would, whoever's on call would get like 80 pings a week, right? And the pings can be any hour of the day. You have to have your phone silenced or bypassed by the Amazon app, and it can ping you at like 3 in the morning, and you just have to go get it. Like it's just what happens. It's crazy.
Wow.
And yeah.
What happens if you don't get it? Like I would just
You just
not
get fired if you
wake
just
up,
don't get
yeah.
it. I know, that's what I was saying. I'm like, I never wake up from my alarm, so yeah. But then the thing is, you'll wake up at 3 a.m. and it's almost always a false alarm. It's like the fire department, dude. Everything's a false alarm. Oh yeah, it turns out a canary's missing things. You gotta add some retries there.
Jeez. So did you have to be on call like that, or did you have to?
Oh yeah, I was on call a few times. 'Cause they're small teams, right? So your on-call comes up more often than you think.
Oh, I see.
Yeah.
Did you ever just miss the notification?
I wouldn't say I was the best at it. I definitely didn't miss too many for too long. But one like escalated because it pinged at like 5 in the morning. And if you don't address it, like acknowledge it, like you have to log into your computer with your fingerprint and everything to acknowledge that you got the ticket. And if you don't do that within 30 minutes, it raises automatically to your boss. Your boss's pager goes off. And then if he doesn't acknowledge it in 30 minutes, it raises to his boss. And so it escalated to my boss one time, and he was like pissed. It was like 6 in the morning. I'm like, dude, I'm not gonna be up at 5:30 in the morning to acknowledge this shit. It's just a false alarm anyway. Just like, I think I was way too blasé about that stuff. Like they take it dead serious, even when it's a false alarm, because you know it's Amazon. You gotta be dead serious. Or the startup's like, of course shit's broken. Of course it's false alarms. So I was like, whatever, man. I just go in and like turn off the ticket sometimes, and then like get to it when I wake up. I'm like, oh, never do that. Never mark that you're working on it unless you're actually awake working on it. I'm like, does it actually matter? No, I'm the only one looking at this ticket. Who cares if I mark it like in progress before I'm like actually starting it? I don't care. Just want the alarm to go away. There's all this. And dude, all my coworkers do it too, because the guy who was training me in to be on call, he said he did that shit too. He's like, oh yeah, you can just mark it here and they'll make it stop alarming you. And I'm like, oh nice.
What the? It sounds like an unrealistic expectation.
Yeah.
I don't know, like, I guess I don't know what you're working on, but what could go wrong so bad that you have to get up in the middle of your sleep and then like go figure it out?
I mean, if you're a service that like, if Reddit's running on your AWS service, I can understand, but we're like a beta service that like no one's using but a handful of beta customers. I don't know. It was kind of cool because like all these other big tech companies were our beta customers. So I was talking to people from like Facebook and Google and everything that they were using their service.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. It's fun.
Crazy.
And you'd think they're like at Facebook and Google, they'd be pretty smart, but they're making like some basic ass SQL mistakes. Like, you put your where clause in the wrong spot. Like, oh yeah, yep. Like, okay. That. It was weird working on that product too, because it was for developers, right? So there was an assumption that the user was going to be technical, which is, I've never had that at any company I've worked at. The user was always like customers, so it had to be very simple for them. And like, oh, these are like, our customers are going to know what an index is and all this stuff, so we don't need to explain it in our documentation. I'm like, oh, I guess not. Kind of cool.
Interesting.
It was fun. I think it was worth being there for a year just to know what it's like. But man, you know why everyone leaves? But now I'm getting kind of tired of all the crypto BS that keeps going around the channels. Samira's like, oh, another crypto news story. I'm like, I don't care. Like, the sooner crypto dies, then we can stop angling into that. The happier I'm gonna be.
I don't have like a super strong opinion on it, but I'd never read any of the articles.
No.
And it's not even like I dismissing it. It's just, I'm not like super plugged in actually to finance or anything. And so like those stuff, it's like, I don't know. It's like sounds cool, like blockchain and all that, but I don't like super believe in it. So it's not, I don't know. It's not like reading about a graphics card or something. It sounds like just kind of hype. I mean, I guess that's
all
what
hype.
graphics cards are too, but yeah. At least graphics cards are real technology.
Yeah, exactly. It's not real technology. Hot garbage. It's annoying that Samira has to lean into it though, because that's what's sexy or whatever. Oh, whoops, I should have flashed into him. What am I doing? Because like Lewis is doing the same thing with AI at Eigen. Oh, we're an AI solution to your document processing. It's like, okay, what does that mean? Samira's like, oh, we're the on-ramp to cryptocurrency. It sucks that you have to like lean into the bullshit as a startup in order to sell the product.
Richard sent me a short clip of, I don't know, there's him scrolling through one of these like chatbot things, and he like give it the language from yeah, and he's like giving it cross default or something. It's like telling them, yeah, it is cross default for these reasons and stuff. He's like, see you later, lawyers. Like, that's the end of you. I'm like, oh, this looks crazy.
ChatGPT is pretty cool, but the thing is, it's confident about everything, so it's just confidently wrong a lot of the time.
Oh yeah, that's the thing. I didn't really respond because I was like, oh, I'm done with it. But
it's
yeah,
cool,
looking
like,
at that,
for sure, it's definitely like super cool actually. But everyone's like, oh, this is gonna replace software engineers. I'm like, even if it writes code that mostly works, a lot of your job is not like pounding out code. It's like thinking about how to solve the problem, right? And it's not really gonna do that. You can't ask something as abstract as like, get me the agreement date from this title page. It's not gonna know, right? It doesn't have like reasoning and understanding. It just has like, it can copy stuff from Stack Overflow and whatnot really well. It's a really good like copy paster of information from online, but it doesn't know what it's copying and pasting. It looks like it does. It's super like convincing that it feels like it does, but it doesn't actually.
interesting.
So, yeah, I'm not really worried. It's cool though. It's for sure like super cool. Whoa, holy shit, it just melted. Let's go, boys.
When I was trying to describe to that guy at the bar, like how network solutions, but they don't necessarily pan out. So you still have to do the groundwork yourself. But he didn't know where like neural network was. And then I realized like I don't know that I can describe it that well. Like I understand like the gist of it, but like describing it to somebody who doesn't know at all, especially like a bar or something, I was kind of difficult.
Yeah.
right back.
Right. There's this new item in League that gives you like tons of HP, like infinitely scaling HP. So my teammate had 8,000 HP, which is like insane. Usually you have like 2,000 at max level.
Yeah.
So he had like 4 times the HP of a normal champ. And then the enemy team had Warwick. So it's literally just like so many tanks on each team. And Warwick like heals himself as he fights. So he can just fight forever, right? He had over 100,000 damage done. Dude, usually like 50, 60k is insane for damage done. But this Warwick had 100,000 just because everyone on my team was super tanky. Oh my god. That's fucking ridiculous. Yeah, Heartsteel. Heartsteel is actually garbage. I thought it would be super broken. But apparently it's garbage and only bronze players build it. And like Jack Show is just better in every case. Yeah, Silas has self-healing, Warwick has self-healing. Riven usually builds Hydra and Death Dance, so she has self-healing. And then Janna's ultimate heals everyone in an AoE around her. So like you had to get healing reduction in that game. Dude, even the techno bros in my Twitter feed are freaking out about ChatGPT. They think it's dangerous to have a tool like this before we've figured out AI's ethical alignment. We really trusted this tool of humanity's best intentions at heart. It's like, dude, it's a freaking chatbot. It's literally just copying and pasting from the internet, right? Like we've trained it on words from the internet and it can spit out words, but it has no reasoning ability. It just looks like it. You would think at least techno bros would be wise to this. This guy works in machine learning. He should know. And they're all like, oh, dude, this is serious. We've crossed the line here. Is it even ethical to keep it trapped in a chatbot? Like, is it like the Matrix where it's just stuck in the chatbot? I'm like, dude, it's literally generates text. It's literally just a function. You give it some input text, it gives you some output text. Oh man, it's so frustrating. And I was watching this trader streaming today, and he said his daughter is studying computer science, but she might drop out because of this AI chatbot. She said software engineering is probably not going to be a thing in 5 or 10 years. What her professor said apparently, which sounds exactly what my professor said when I was 15. He said don't even study computer science because all the jobs are going to India, which was like completely wrong, like 100% wrong. And now people are like, oh, don't even study it because like the AI is going to do it for you. It's like, okay, well, I guess don't study law because the AI can do that. Don't study accounting because the AI can do that. Don't study computers. I guess, what do? Like go work in construction or something, I guess, if that's what you think.
But the AI took her job.
Took her jobs. Like the AI is super cool. There's going to be some amazing like applications that come from it. And it can probably do a good job of like customer service and stuff, like forwarding you to the right representative and things. But we already have pretty good chatbots for that, so I don't know how much marginal improvement there would be. I don't know, it's a super cool thing, but I don't think it could actually do many people's real jobs. It can look like it's doing your job, right? There's one guy on Twitter who like put it a really good way. He's like, would you hire someone who doesn't know anything, but is a very confident bullshitter? Because that's basically this AI is an extremely confident bullshitter. You would not want someone like that, right? So it's like, yeah. And I'm not just being defensive. Like I admit AI is going to take some jobs like radiology or whatever with the computer vision. It's already taking a lot of radiology jobs, which is like how it is. But I just don't think like people underestimate how like, what do you call it? Like free form, like being a lawyer or a software engineer is. Like the variety of things you do and the prioritization of tasks and the talking with customers and figuring out like what to do. There's so much abstract other stuff than just writing the code. Writing the code is like the last thing. And once you know what to do, writing the code is freaking easy. Like that doesn't even take the time or the effort. So I'd appreciate having a bot that could write me the code once I know what to do. Sure. Like Copilot, you know? Then totally. But like it doesn't solve that much of the job. Yeah, and then people are like as an example of what this chatbot can do, people were building like new web apps from scratch, like, oh, make me a React application with a button and a header bar, and it can actually do all of it pretty good, like CSS files and everything come out pretty good. But then it's like, well, okay, now you want to deploy it. Well, like, where do you deploy it? How much is it going to cost? How many customers do you expect and whatnot? I guess you could ask it that, and it would probably give you some answers from Google. Yeah, that's true. Like planes can be flown. They have autopilot for airplanes, right? And they can actually fly most of the route, but we still have like 2 pilots in each flight.
Yeah.
I don't know.
And then the code makes it flip upside down and kill everybody.
Yeah. Dude, that's the thing. Do you want ChatGPT writing code that flies airplanes? Fuck no. Dude, I don't want no AI written code like flying my plane. Dear God. And this is a stupid thing, right? And people say this about Tesla's self-driving. They say, oh, of course Tesla's autopilot crashes sometimes. So do humans. It's like, yeah, but like I feel like autopilot is like less predictable and it'll crash more. Like, oh, of course, like humans write bugs. Humans wrote the Boeing bug that crashed 2 planes. Why does it matter if an AI writes code that crashes planes? I think it's worse. Like I don't know how to explain it, but it's worse because it's like I think we should just have better review systems, right? Have humans, have people reviewing what the humans are doing, etc. I don't know.
But once you get rid of all the jobs, what's the point of all the people?
Yeah, kill the people.
Just get rid of all the people.
Yep.
It's like fucking Foundation.
Yeah.
Actually, it's the iRobot. They have a planet where there's like, I don't know, 2,000 people that live on the entire planet or something. And they just have an army of robots at each estate for like 1 or 2 people that live there. And they never see each other. They just let the robots take care of them, you know?
Yeah.
And it's kind of like a dystopia thing, you know?
And iRobot was such a good book. I don't know. The short stories were like so simple, but actually really like deep.
This one was part of one of the longer stories. I think it's the 2nd book. I think Isaac Asimov has a robot fetish.
Yeah.
Like in several of the books, somebody's having sex with a robot. It's like,
I mean, that's just realistic. But what do you think's gonna happen?
yeah. I guess back then it was probably more profound, but it's like, I don't know. Yeah, he's got a lot of books, so I guess it's not that crazy. But once you read it like 3 times, these people having relationships with a robot, like, dude, you just want like one, don't you?
I get ads all the time on Twitter for this app called Replica. It's like an AI girlfriend or whatever.
Ah.
If it's as good as ChatGPT, though, I don't know. It work. Nikki, should we open up our relationship to include an AI? What if you had a polycule and it's like 7 AIs and 2 real people?
It's actually kind of like the book. They only have 2 people to each estate, you know, because they can have kids. But I don't even think they raise their kids. The robots raise them, and they almost never see each other, except when they have to like go through the ceremony of, you know, getting pregnant. It's just like they don't even want to be near each other. It's exactly that kind of thing.
I think it's cool. I think it is really good AI. I don't know. I could see you like falling in love with it.
What does that even mean, though?
Well, you gotta ask Isaac Asimov what it means.
He didn't have the luxury of having a real robot. He had to invent one in his imagination.
Yeah.
As if it couldn't get worse. He has a relationship with an imaginary robot.
Had to write one into my story because they didn't get invented yet.
It's like, what do you call that? Like a hopeless robot romantic.
I'm surprised that like VR porn hasn't taken off more. Like everyone was
Probably
saying that would be
has,
the primary use case. No one talks about it.
Yeah.
Apparently, though, deepfakes have been huge for the porn industry. I didn't even know, but I heard on this like podcast that like these things everywhere because you can just put anyone's face with anyone else's body or whatever. It looks super realistic. It's like, oh damn, good use case. Miracle of AI, man. Porn is always the first adopter of new technology. Well, that reminds me. Engine of innovation. We were looking at there's like a job ad for Pornhub, or a friend got an ad to go work at Pornhub as an engineer. It'd be kind of cool, actually.
It seems bad. Like, it's bad enough to watch a lot of the time. But imagine it being your job. I suppose you wouldn't necessarily see a lot of it depending on what you're working on, but you know, wouldn't you just be that much more desensitized? I feel like it'd be bad for you.
Yeah.
It'd be like meeting real women and being like, I've seen deep fakes hotter than you.
Put a filter over, man. You got augmented reality glasses, right? Just put that deep fake filter on.
I've made deep fakes hotter than you.
Yeah. You're special.
I'm with her for the silhouette. Anybody's face works over it.
What's kind of crazy is if you train the AI, like any AI girlfriend that's trained on like all of your emails and personal data, could be like really, really knowledgeable about you, probably more than any human could ever know about you. Kind of crazy. It'd like be like, oh, it's just because of that traumatic incident you had when you were like 5, and it would actually like know exactly why you're doing things.
You just get me.
Yeah, get me a little too well.
What if you got an abusive relationship with the AI? It was like
that'd be amazing.
Tearing you apart.
Yeah, like the best possible way, like really ripping into you because it knows exactly.
Just like Matt, I'm a computer. I don't lie. You're a piece of shit.
You're kind of hot. Nikki, what if you had an AI girlfriend that was like abusive, but it was like really good at it because it knew everything about you, because it read all of your emails and Facebook posts and everything. It was like inhumanly knowledgeable about everything that could like trigger you and make you upset. Like the perfect abusive relationship. The platonic ideal of abusive relationships.
The platonic ideal of domestic abuse.
Purified domestic abuse. Finally, essence of abuse. God damn, I hate Kassadin so much. Just fuck my shit up, fam. Oh yes, finally. Essence of Abuse. You get 2 magics just for the Kassadin. Magic boys. Wait, can I get the boots instead? No. A magic boy and boots. Oh. This thing in boots. Yeah, and some potions. Yeah, oh man, oh man. Ryan was trying to figure out how to optimize some queries for the filter bar with me. I don't think we made any real progress.
Yeah.
Like, your guess is kind of as good as mine, man. I don't know.
Is it so it's not clear like what would optimize it?
I think we know which part is slow. It's just like, well, how do we fix that? Yeah, when Dragon is aggroing you and you're a Kali and you put your shroud down and go invisible, he actually just like instantly resets, like his patience bugs out and he just goes back. I always do that. If Echo had kept aggro instead of somersaulting backwards, then Dragon went to reset. But I happened to shroud at the same time the Echo E'd away. So he lost aggro on like everybody and then like became impatient. No plating, no point. Bottom's not even got shutdowns. Oh, top is a small shutdown, but it's hard to kill Shen. Not really anything to do. Maybe ward Rengar's jungle. Just go home. Guess I should have stayed and followed his roam, but I think they can get out in time. Dude, go! Do you not see what's happening? Death is coming. He's gonna hop right onto Twitch's ass. One hop to kill Twitch. One hop to kill Echo. Nice. Flashed, but they got out. Oh, Ezreal ultimate. Got him anyway. That's still worth roaming down. He's gonna... Oh, he didn't finish his... Oh, maybe we can do this. Shen, that's super annoying. Get out of here, Shen. No one wants to talk to you. Want to get your juicy friends. If Twitch was on the other side of the wall, I think we could clean all this up pretty easy. Or Caitlyn's getting shut down. Oh, Caitlyn, clean up! Oh, the Shen flash. Nice. And doesn't know what he's doing. That's good. A good guess. Okay, we need you up here, man. Oh no. Rengar's got a fast shutdown. That's his wave. He can have it. I think Rengar took our red because he had red. Yep. Get away from the bushes. Oh god. At least we got the pink ward here. That's a super good pink ward. Totally wrecked his ult. I wouldn't go near that though.
An enemy has been slain. An ally has been slain. Has destroyed a turret. Shut down. Your turret has been destroyed.
Might have been worth trying to kill the Ezreal. He has like, well, he has a small shutdown, but I'd rather kill the Rengar. Aston's gonna boogie his ass on over here in a hot minute. Oh damn, that's freaking 5, never mind. Just kidding, guys. Yeah, Rengar can just melt Baron in like a second with straight damage.
An ally has been slain.
Oh, it's this Smurf Rengar too. That explains it. Oh dude, this Rengar's account has 14 wins and 1 loss. Holy cow. And Twitch did more damage there than I expected. Whoa! Where'd that guy go? Nice job. I gotta get that Rengar shut down. Depends if he greeds this or not. Look out, he's got yellow. Nice. Woo! He parried the Bola stun, which stunned him. When she parries a stun, it stuns whoever he's pointing at. So she knew he would stun Bola and parried it. Kind of need armor for the Rengar because he has nothing but lethality. I already started building magic resist for Kassadin. Doesn't help that we picked 0 tanks into Rengar.
An ally has been slain.
Just got me with the splash damage. Just the splash damage from Hydra was enough. That's crazy. Oh, he got him though. Another shutdown. Some stacks off the Hydra. I think this patch they increase the number of stacks that you lose on Hydra. Still a broken item though. Oh, so close, so close. Hippity hoppity, here comes the squat. Enter the skirt of the void. Oh, I liked when Cassidy was not meta. That was a good couple years. I think Catherine is probably going to be one of the next champs to rework because he's like a season 1 champ with like unlimited jumps, which is the reason they reworked Akali in the first place. They didn't like that she had unlimited jumps or like 3 and then 1 per kill. Granted, they're all targeted, but it doesn't really matter. Castans are AoE. Sure, you have to aim it, but it's an AoE where you land, which is ridiculous. Yeah, I gotta pick Cassidy when he's open. So boring though.
Wife is cheating. I don't know how you did not. Hey, I live in the neighborhood. My Wi-Fi name is 1744. Your wife is cheating. I don't know how you did not catch on. Your address is 1744, but every day when you leave for work, a Nissan parks 3 houses down, walks up the side of your house, goes in your back door. I'm assuming you don't have cameras back there? Okay, your wife is smart, but she is unfaithful. I'm going to walk this way, but I don't live this way.
I don't know how you did not catch on.
Hello, everyone. This is Donald Trump. Hopefully your favorite president of all time, better than Lincoln, better than Washington, with an important announcement to make. I'm doing my first official Donald J. Trump NFT collection right here and right now. They're called Trump Digital Trading Cards. These cards feature some of the really incredible artwork pertaining to my life and my career. It's been very exciting. You can collect your Trump digital cards just like a baseball card or other collectibles. Here's one of the best parts. Each card comes with an automatic chance to win amazing prizes like dinner with me. I don't know if that's an amazing prize, but it's what we have. Or golf with you and a group of your friends at one of my beautiful golf courses, and they are beautiful. I'm also doing Zoom calls, a one-on-one meeting, autographing memorabilia, and so much more. We're doing a lot. My official Trump digital trading cards are $99, which doesn't sound like very much for what you're getting. Buy one and you will join a very exclusive community. It's my community, and I think it's something you're going to like, and you're going to like it a lot. They also make perfect gifts. So you can buy them with your credit card or crypto. All you need is an email address. Go to collecttrumpcards.com and buy your Trump digital trading cards right now before they are all gone, and they will be gone. This is my first official Trump trading card NFT collection, and you get a chance to meet me. Go to collecttrumpcards.com right now, and remember, Christmas is coming, and this makes a great Christmas gift.
No purchase necessary. Void where prohibited.
No, I thought that was a deep fake too. Everybody thought it was a deep fake, but it's actually real. Like, you can go, he's posted it on True Social and everything. Like, it's actually a real thing. It's crazy. Never run out of ways to grift his fan base.
Alright, dude, well, I'm gonna go to bed.
Alright, man. I'll see you.
See ya.
Peace.
Welcome to Summoner's Rift.
And these are probably sicker than average prostate cancer patients, because you can wait 10 years. Or these are castrate-resistant prostate cancers. They're metastatic. They're already very sick. But they're chemo naive, and we can keep these people alive for years now, thankfully. Used to be 6 months. Thanks to the drug industry, you can see the median overall survival now is 24 months, which is amazing. Thanks to these new medicines. So as this has happened, these overall survival studies, you can see 4,000 patients in a prostate cancer study. You needed 300 patients back in the day, because the amount of events you'd get was enormous. Here, the events are still large because it's cancer, but you still need a sample size that's big because you're not getting many events.
Yeah.
Here, you're not going to get a lot of events for mortality. This is
So-
a fatal disease.
Martin, just to kind of zoom out, because I agree with everything you're saying, but maybe just to kind of circle back to, I think, my point, which is maybe one tier like above what you're talking about. Like, 'cause what you're talking about is a little bit more microscopic, but in this case, 5,000 people didn't get the vaccine, right? It's a placebo. No one died.
In 2 months,
No one
nobody
died.
got in either arm.
Well, no, but some people still got the illness, right? I guess, what was it, 123 people got the illness in the placebo group? And I mean, maybe disagree, but like, I mean, if we think that COVID's lethal, it's going to happen quickly after getting it, right? Like, the ARDS response comes from the tissue in your lungs swelling and the distance to the alveoli and your blood.
Everyone in this room is listening to this. Doesn't mean anybody died. I got COVID. Once
I'd be curious to do a sampling, like how many people got a vaccine and then later got COVID. That would be an interesting statistical sample to take.
That is this
I don't believe I got COVID.
I will say my father's 67, and after his first Pfizer vaccine, he had a first sort of seizure, but I don't check it for the vaccine like a crystal ball.
On our personal anecdotes, the point I'm making is that this is.
Oh, but no, if you integrate the sum of coincidence, you can do statistics, right? So, I mean, if we have 50 people in here.
Oh, come on.
Yeah, I don't chalk it up to the vaccine. I don't have a crystal ball.
This is a medical miracle. Like this is unbelievable. You cannot pray for a better time. When I saw it,
I think the numbers are very impressive, and if I have any skepticism, it's like, are we trusting Pfizer to tell us about its own medicine?
Well, so that's one thing that makes sense. But then Moderna had the same exact result, and then when it was done in different countries, it had the same result. So like, we saw this replicated result. And by
So
the way,
replicated. Okay.
yeah, the people that published in the New England Advice, there's no conspiracy. If you ever sat down with a steering committee or a room of these types of people, as I have, there's no love. There's no fucking friendships. Like, these people are out for blood, and they'll just between tear you down than let you in. And certainly, look, some of these journals have made mistakes. Lancet published the vaccine autism thing a long time ago.
Right.
When you have a 95% reduction in incidence, I think that's impressive. And then when you have, again, the mortality, even if you take 5% of people, right? 5% of people die from COVID. I'll tell you no precedent for a healthy person you still sort of have a problem here where, you know, you're not going to have a lot of power. This is enough power, but you can't do a 200,000 patient clinical trial. So the trial has never been done. You know, so you can find a sample size that's comfortable enough that has enough power or alpha to detect that, you know, 0.05.
Power is beta, not alpha.
Well, what would it cost?
When
What did it cost?
A little like most of these had actually been my fault. I moved on to dating a path that the monster-slaying adventurers would be taking in and out of the tavern. The hallway doubled as 2 barracks zones that would be used to train my squads of dwarves in shifts, so that there would always be fresh soldiers between the cavern and my tavern. However, I didn't finish digging the path all the way through to the tavern, because 1, my squads weren't good enough yet, and 2, they especially weren't good enough to do anything like the Forgotten Beast that chose this time to come like fire to the cavern. It was a huge blob of flame.
Wow, his ignite was up again. That's unlucky.
And it immediately went to work spitting fire at some of the monster slayers I had abandoned in the caverns a year prior. I decided to leave that whole situation alone for a while to let it settle, and instead focus my energy on the ambiance of the tavern itself. I wanted it to be a place for adventurers.
Oh damn, I
to
knew I'd
relax
go with
and
D-Dragon if
some
you saw me top.
fulfillment line between cavern expeditions. And I had the idea that creating a babbling brook running alongside the tavern would be quite the relaxing experience. Of course, the only place to get a renewable source of water was the river all the way up on the surface. We began digging a tunnel that led from the river, down along Corkscrew, and past the edge of the tavern. The plan was to take it down from there again, and over to the edge of the map. But while digging it out, some additional cavern space was discovered off to the side of the tavern. And then, when a dwarven woman and her baby went out there, some angry serpent men were also discovered. There was no chance to rescue the 2 of them without getting into an all-out war with the serpent men, so instead we just built up some walls as fast as we could, and went back to digging to put it out of our minds. Eventually, we reached the edge of the map, and carved fortifications into the stone to create a drain. After a year spent wrapping my mind around, and then setting up a glass industry, the river viewing windows were built and placed into the tavern, and it was time to let the water flow. Unfortunately, things went sideways immediately when the river was dug into. The water flowed far faster than I expected, and the control room was flooded before the floodgate leading to the main stairwell could be closed. In a panic, I set a wall to be built at the edge of the staircase with whatever material was closest, and Mafol sacrificed herself by grabbing the nearest stone and building the wall from inside the flooding control room. With the tavern saved, I watched as the water rushed down the corkscrew and past the tavern window. As long as nobody knew that a woman had sacrificed herself building a wall to save the tavern from flooding, I'm sure it was quite the peaceful sight. From there, I went down the tunnels and successfully drained out the fortification. As far as projects went, losing 3 dwarves during the construction of a stream was not great, but also far from the worst I'd ever dealt with, so I'll call it a win. Around this time, I noticed that the Serpent Men were engaged in a massive war with the Forgotten Beast, and were dropping shields and weapons left and right as they died. This once again told me that now is probably not the time to open up the Adventurer's Hallway, and so I went back to decorating the tavern. While looking around for artifacts that I could put on pedestals in the tavern, I noticed something odd. Ushalabir, Treason Romance, my prized Nazoosh, was in the possession of a human named Desley Idrisebe. Considering I had made a whole video about how cursed this Magnetite Nazoosh was, and how I needed to lock it away to protect it, I was not happy to see it here in the hands of a human, and so she was killed for her apparent theft. It was stored in one of the tavern chests, and I just hoped that this time people would be able to enjoy the music without being driven into a murderous rage out of a desire to steal it for themselves. Eventually, as I saw the Serpent Men disappear and the Forgotten Beast slow down a little from the constant onslaught of Serpent Men it had faced, I thought that it might be an okay time to open the hallway. I was convinced that it was definitely the right time to open the hallway when people started asking me to build a temple. I was running a tavern after all, not a church. And so we dug into the cavern, allowing our visitors a chance to get out and explore, and allowing our enemies a chance to get in and kill us. Definitely a fair trade. After a couple people wandered out and got themselves killed, the mood in the fortress began to turn a little sour. In my eyes, they should have been counting their lucky stars that the Forgotten Beast had lost its shell and had become withdrawn over on the far edge of the map, instead of coming in and burning down the whole tavern. But sometimes dwarves don't realize how good they have it. Despite the people's displeasure, my original vision for this tavern had been one for monster-slaying adventurers, and so to support that, I dug some stairs that went down from the first cavern layer and connected with the other two, so monster players would have 3 different layers to explore. If anyone was scared about opening up our avenues of attack from 1 cavern to 3, they shouldn't have been, because it was our original cavern layer that was the source of the massive Serpent Man attack that killed over 30 of my dwarves. If only I knew where they hid the emergency alert in the Steam version. After that, the mood in the fortress was noticeably worse, and people were not as eager to head out the cavern doors, other than the monster slayers, of course. They were also in terrible mood, but they continued doing their jobs, exploring the caverns, and fighting all the weird little creatures they came across. With fewer civilians wandering in and out of the tavern, the next Serpent Man attack was less successful, and resulted in the deaths of a large number of Serpent Men. And then when a Great Loris Forgotten Beast came, only a couple of dwarves died before it was taken care of. Having fought off attacks from Serpent Man and Forgotten Beast alike, I was willing to consider my adventurous tavern a resounding success. Sure, we only had 50 dwarves alive, and had probably lost over 50 in the 5 years we were open, but intruders had failed to break into the tavern, and our monster-slaying visitors were doing their thing all over the caverns. It was just what I had envisioned when I set out to make a cavern tavern, so what more could I ask for? Thanks for watching.
Oh no, she revived. That sucks. Oof, Trinimir's down 50 CS in 3 levels. See if Jax tries to kill him here. He probably won't because Trinimir has ultimate, so I don't think he would try it. Trinimir has ult, right? He does. Like we could try to do this. I think he's just in a bad mood. He didn't even want to move up and use it. Yep, he's just giving me that thing. Nice. Guy's dead as shit. What is he doing? I'm gonna go auto him, man. What the fuck? There's the ultimate. But you're autoing the guy who's invincible to autos right now. Oh my god, dude. Lux got him though. That's good. Nice, Lux. Yeah, he's just tilted. That's what you get. Right. Ooh, I guess they're playing top. Feels like every game comes down to being a top diff. Like easily the strongest hero right now. It's because they buffed all the experience you get up there. No. If it was just him, maybe, but now Syndra's there too. If Lux lands a snare on the Syndra right here. Oh, she could have moved up to snare that actually. If she had just kept walking forward, I think she could have been in range. Herald is gone for sure. Good gank bottom. I think they probably just recalled the shop. Oh, nope. It was a sneaky surprise. Nice, dudes. There was no contesting that Herald when Jax is there. That's just gone. He's probably going to recall into tower, but we could ult backwards and kill her, I think. Is that for Lux, or did she just guess that I was coming? That's pretty crazy. Dang. He can just ult if I go for him. I think Syndra is probably already gone. Doesn't have the recall. Oh, just a second too late. That sucks. I don't know if I forgot to Jax. She's just gonna 2v1 us, man. Akali's always been at the bottom of the win rates. Doesn't mean she's bad though. She's just hard to play. I feel like as long as I've mained Akali, she's been like bottom of the win rates. Wow, I didn't even need that. I think my Qs would hit him that hard. Oh, he's just straight damage, that's why. Usually Jax, he has his ultimate on for like a ton of magic resist and all this other stuff. But you just melted, damn. You can have that. I don't think we can contest drag. Nope. Fine though. When they're all fed, you just gotta hand over objectives. Because like if you show up, it's just gonna be a wipe anyway, and then they'll get the objective regardless. So it's kind of pointless. I would just stay away. I mean, I guess Jax is dead. Renata had the ultimate. So good for team fights. Are we fighting this? Are we fighting here for nothing? Fighting for nothing and we're behind? Good way to do it. Ooh, the Nyla. Careful. Okay, why is she gone? Farm though. Look, snare. Oh, get her flash. Flash is good. Yeah, it depends how brain dead this Jax is, right? We need Lux and Tryndamere. Lux having is unique because you always feel like you're down a person. Jax is here, I don't know if I'd want to try this. We almost did, honestly. Oh, wow. Oh, he lives! Yeah, we got a lot for that. Pretty nice. Good. Yeah. Renata ult is so strong. We shouldn't have been trying that anyway, because one, we're behind and there's no objective, and two, we saw that we have 3 and they have 5, right? We saw that we had 1 top and 1 bot. And then the Lucian and Yuumi still wanted it, even though Yumi's like, you're basically down a character. Yeah, all that for reward, right? Doesn't make any sense. Jax doesn't even have a shutdown anymore. Echo does though. Wait, is he here? Wow, of course. Oh, so close, but now gets that magic shield. I guess they were baiting Baron. They thought we would go to Baron. I wasn't even considering that because like we were nowhere near strong enough to Baron. I was just going to farm my top side. Did they really think we'd counter rush Baron after they took tier 2 mid? Like, I don't know. I think blue's probably gone. We'll go get a timer on it anyway. They probably took blue and then Scuttle. I mean, now they could probably take Baron, honestly. But Renata's not there, so they're probably not doing it. Echo's not there either, so they're definitely not doing it. Wait, they didn't take my blue? They didn't take Scuttle either? What? Probably could help with the fight. We can always take Scuttle afterwards if we need to. They're good without me though. Lucian Nami are actually super fed. I kind of want to try the Echo, not the Syndra. Ali's here too. Oh, I see we're fighting for drag. I don't know if we can stop that dragon. I have no smite anyway. Can't really fight Jax, he's 3 levels up on me. I don't think Tryndamere would show up even if we started fighting Jax. There's like literally nothing to do. AFK farm, I guess. But why fight now, though? Dragon's already gone. We're only more behind than the last time we tried to fight and lost. Oh no, it's Jax. No. Please. I was running a big board hop to me. Oh god. After what? After this game? Yeah. Our Lucian's pretty strong at least. Nice. Yeah, we can actually take Baron off of that now. We messed up pretty hard there. Messed up super hard. What? I'm gonna get a needless and a... I have a scanner, right? Scanner and pink, and then we'll do it. Don't chase Echo for no reason. Ends of the earth. Got a pink on it already. How much can Yumi heal? Can she heal that up? Apparently not. Oh, and Jax is up. Damn. Oh, what? Bro, could have fought him. Arm was almost ready. Oh well, now we can't because there's not enough time. They're all respawning. Yeah, bro, he wouldn't be alive if you just let me charm him. We blew him up. Oh, well, what do we do now? For Nyla? It's hard to blow up Nyla though, because she's got the magic shield. Oh, okay, I'm leaving. And can you break that? Oh no, shit, never mind. They're like all here. We have like nobody. Oh, this is so fun. Gotta love it. Not all being out is pretty huge. Oh, I want a charmer. This Jax is not even here. That's a like 5v4. Can't believe we didn't hand it. Oh, and this one. Oh yeah. Well, it's Friday morning, but yeah. I think weekends are the worst. People have like the worst mental. Nice was actually saying it too. He said the best games are like in the mornings and afternoons. Oh, we could just duo if you want. Wait, do you have my friends list? You can add me. Now the weekends are garbage. 100% of the time on the weekends are just garbage. Everybody is like trolling and feeding and super pissed off. Super coin flippy.
With the mini rework they've done with Kassadin E, his win rate has absolutely skyrocketed. As you can see in these trends, you can see Kassadin's pick rate has not only gone up to the 6th highest at the moment from 16th, his win rate has gone from the 37th up to the 11th. So when a champion's pick rate goes up, plus his win rate goes up, the champion is completely bonkers, guys. Rod of the Ages, also the perfect item. They've reworked it, also looking to buff it in the future. Kassadin, abuser for Elo right now. Our boy Nemesis, of course, he jumps into all of these stupid, silly, broken champions. You see him abusing the Kassadin. Today, gonna jump onto the rift, break down Nemesis' Kassadin he's been abusing in the preseason, and climbing some Elo. And quickly before we hit the rift, guys, if you enjoy my content, make underneath. This is probably the #1 guy I like to watch play. I actually used to watch a lot of his VODs to learn how to play weak side matchups because he plays such weak lane champions. Like, he used to play a lot of Kayle mid. I'd never really understand how to scale properly with it. Even when they reworked Talia and he'd gone from a strong mid lane champion to a very weak in lane, I looked at Nemesis to see what he was doing in order to how he spaces and survives. Kassadin right now, broken as hell. Biggest issue for Kassadin probably is Zed, so make sure to ban it. Other than that, guys, just start scaling up.
They have super high base damage level 1, especially if you start Darkstick.
As you E-start now, not Q, unless you're into something like a LeBlanc.
Clear minions pretty easily, and the high cooldown doesn't really matter because you wouldn't be queuing anyway and whatever.
Reach it. Coach now.
Actually, I'm kind of digging the E-start Kassadin.
E-start is better now.
Trying it and actually works pretty well.
And you E-max. It's so efficient to E-max on Kassadin.
Level 3, pretty easy into the lane right now.
Scale, hit rower, don't panic. Biggest problem with Kassadin players, that was a really bad trade. Don't get hit by E.
I shouldn't have gotten E
Guys,
by her.
this is where a lot of you guys go wrong. You try to help your team too much when playing these scaling champions. Don't help your team. You are the team. You have to be so selfish for experience and CS, okay? That's what you're selfish for. Plates are solid, but it's mainly experience. So if you take stupid roams and your opponent starts to get ahead of you.
And here I base TP. So why do I base TP here? Lane in locker spot, she has Ignite, and this game could be coming in if I overstand
5-second window where I can't do anything, makes sense.
So I base right here also because she doesn't play TP herself.
Interesting, goes Ruby.
Now I can just stay in lane, farm to level 6, and with extra HP now and an item advantage that I have, I'm very hard to kill when they gank me.
But that makes you susceptible to dying.
This just secures my laning phase for the next 3 minutes pretty easily.
Into a 6 and then you can't die. Remember, Kali's gone Ignite. Okay, careful. Kali's gone Ignite. I don't think he needs the flash, but he just ruins everything.
And I get ganked and I lose 60% of my HP.
70%. He needs his vision, but now it's kind of screwed.
This does reveal enemy jungler though. So my teammates know where he is, but yeah.
Rakan top? Oh, it's probably Dangerous Boy Addy.
Gonna get doof now.
That crazy Korean player that does like this stupid support tops and
Lane is still fine,
the guy he
guys,
invented Shyvana top, all that type of stuff.
It's a Kali and she can't really do much early game.
They are planning on doing a little mini.
The gang didn't do a lot.
They're planning on changing Roa in. I'm not sure. I think it's to make it the passive seem more satisfying. So Kassadin, I don't believe has any plans for a nerf. Plus, Roa might be getting a slight buff. Definitely the time to get in on the champion.
But the way we go in, so there will be no freeze.
Yep. Has enough for boots.
Everything's looking fine. Kindred has a kill, which is really good.
Just farm it
Our
up.
comp is, I think, much better than
Do
theirs.
do not press. Do not panic.
That version sucks
Do not
ass.
take unnecessary
I agree.
risks
I
when you
think the
play these
original is
scaling
much better.
champs. I see so many low elite
XP
players
wise,
just playing
I
these
do think she's
champions and they just
slightly ahead,
grief it
or
away for
even, not sure,
nothing.
though.
Or a 50-50 coin flip when you're just gonna win and steamroll late game no matter what.
That is what's so nice about playing a scaling champ is like you literally don't even have to try. Like you just have to survive, right? Be like a little even on CS, you can even be down CS, but you're gonna win anyway because you're playing a scaling champ. Like it's so easy. The burden is on the lane opponent to like really shut you down. Otherwise, it's just over.
Flash Nala.
Lane's coming in, no need to trade. You see here, like sometimes I'll move in and I'll just move in to trade just to trade. So a lot of people do that, right? You just go in and you start trading with someone because they're there and your abilities are up. Nemesis doesn't do that,
She's
bro.
gonna go bot here. I
If
can't
there's
ping
no
anymore.
benefit to trading, he doesn't even do it. He just sits back and farms with the zero risk.
Perfect last hitting. Adu died top.
10 CS min already.
Overextended. They will die now.
Ali is gonna get fed off this, that's the problem.
This is not my fault.
I agree. Gonna be able to shove it in. Level, what is it? 6 minutes. He can maybe try and press
Well,
for a
he
plate.
got 1 for 1. It's not too bad. Like a Caliban bot got a kill, lost all her HP, but
You see, Nemesis
Karma
doesn't
also
roam
died,
on this
so
crap.
I
He
actually
doesn't.
think it's okay in this case.
He's not gonna
I got
follow
a plate
ever.
for it, which is half a
175
kill.
gold. Yep, half a kill.
And I'll be able to push this wave in too, and then yeah. Ad is now roaming because he can't lane anymore.
It is Addy, thought so.
But the problem with his roaming is that he comes mid now and
He
leeches my
leeches
XP,
XP.
right?
So
Which,
annoying.
like, I don't know. I don't really like it. So I base here, I'm still in range with him, so right now I'm giving him spell tip stacks on the tower. So he got 60 gold with the item right now for free. And here a lot of people would make the mistake of
I'd
buying
go
Catalyst,
Catalyst.
but Blasting One is just way better. Castellan
Ah.
has extremely high AP scales on his abilities, and Blasting One just gives you such a cute spike in damage.
Like I'm getting a lecture and I'm lecturing you guys. This is perfect. The teacher teaches the teacher
Oh, he's
to
just
teach.
gonna follow teammates and roam.
He likes the flat
Lane
AP,
push is
doesn't
over
like the
for him.
catalyst buy.
Aurelia's gonna be pretty fad.
Once the ratio is
cool
level
and
7,
stuff
you can
later.
actually start playing a little bit more aggressive here too, by the way, guys. You start at level 7 with 4 points into E. You will actually start packing a bit of a punch, especially because here, he's gone that blasting one. I'm not saying you can 1v1 an Akali with
You
Conquer
know what?
Ignite.
We should watch one of those videos, guys, where they sell extremely expensive houses in Q today.
But I'm just
One per
saying, you
day
can
wouldn't
whittle
be
them
a
away
bad
and maybe
idea.
look for a 2v2 if the Kindred's around. What rower timing are you guys guessing? I'm going to go ahead and
You
say...
can see the Emax casting has pretty good wave clear with ult.
I'll say 11... Oh, should I say 11? No. Yeah,
Lowering
11...
because they are getting all
31.
They are a bit faster than Akali.
Interesting, he's actually going to go for the roam here. Enemy team has Nyla Karma, absolutely bonkers lane. He needs to kill. He needs to... Is he going to after? Oh my god. He might have entered this. If he can go 1 for 1, it's not the worst. Alright, he gets 1. He could... Oh! Makes the mistake. He wanted to R-flash into the Kindred ult and get out.
I should have ult flashed.
Yeah. So he doesn't go tier just to get the fastest possible roller spike. Save that 400 gold. Make sure to get the Dark Seal just because Medjai's Kassadin makes sense. 2 items. As soon as you hit that, it's very hard to kill a good
Close
Kassadin
one.
player. Trust me, guys. Good Kassadin players, they use their R to maneuver around
So
the
you
team
could see
fights.
the strength of Karma and why she's
Not to
really
permanently
like a top
all
three
in the
support.
middle of it. They're
She buys the
maneuvering
CT
back,
boots and killing
get
gem,
kill, move
and
out.
then she has 5 spell rotations in a simple fight. Like, it's ridiculous.
Ridiculous.
It's absolutely ridiculous.
Ridiculous. How are we looking on CS? We actually missed a little bit off that. We
What
did
is
get
that stone in inventory? It's called Heart of Gold. It gives you 200 HP and gold per 5. No, I'm kidding.
Good one, bro.
It's called Catalyst of the Eons.
Catalyst of the Aeons.
And my bot lane keeps dying to Akali. Like, this is getting a little bit ridiculous.
Ridiculous. So most
Lucian is out-of-field mid main, so yeah.
it is
we do be
so annoying.
We have hard losing bot right now with Lucian.
It's so
dying
annoying when
4
you're
times
pinging these
while Nami dies
roams.
0.
Kali's strong enough to
Top
take
lane's also
1v1s
losing.
here. Gets the plate. He has enough for roll up. Does he just steal space?
Not
Fine.
too bad.
I think he's hitting before my The Emacs won't quite one-shot the backline minions until an item and a half, I believe, but that's when you have such a wave flip. Emacs is any champion. As a Kali is actually trying to deny this cannon. I think she's going to be able to do it. He wants the XP, but he
Right
gets
now,
denied
she's
the
a bit
gold.
stronger than me.
Kali goes in, Karma, and goes down. Big mistake there. I think he was even dead. Oh. That Akali is clean. Okay. Pure aggression. Roll up 1040. He made a mistake.
It's a bit harder to lane when she has like 4 kills out of nowhere, right?
It's true, but this is the mentality that I get in sometimes. I'm like, damn, I wouldn't have died there if my bot lane didn't feed her 4 kills. But the correct thing is, he knew that and he still took the trade and died because of it. It's still, you have to still internalize, and I know like I'm not blaming many, but like this is a mindset thing. You can't blame your team for you making bad decisions, because every decision is your own that you make. It's their fault that she's fed, but it's still your fault that you put yourself in that scenario to get the 1v1. I struggle with I like League of Legends, half of it is mindset, guys.
I don't know, it's so embarrassing we're losing this fight.
Remember to play scaling music as well when playing this champion. Tchaikovsky, Beethoven, Hans Zimmer. I believe I have a Spotify playlist. I'm not sponsored by the way, but it's like a mid-B solo queue playlist or something. Climb mode or something. I can't remember what it's called, but it's on Spotify. I use it when I'm playing scaling champions or mages. It helps me out a lot with mentality. And some people don't play with music, but I do.
I don't know what that is doing.
And he could have just walked backwards. Because I had him in the web.
I think he's gonna take that whole wave.
Didn't have to die.
Never FF. Kali's going in, and
I don't think I can one-on-one the Mundo.
Into our
I'm not gonna go down to Scuttle. Don't know if we want to try Dragon. get a ward here or what? Oh no. Windows there. Oh man. Redwings can block his Qs. Dang. Oh, this is so. You can probably take Dragon because they had to get forced out. Maybe get her before go to go. Oh, she had mana for that? Really? Alright. Looked way out of mana to me.
Thank you.
Oh no. That was close.
Lucky that you ever had me. You got
A summoner has reconnected. Killing spree. Double kill.